Previously on Horsepower Wars. The Comp Cam's Dream Team settled their differences and got their engine put together and bolted into their Fox body Mustang. Stinky Pinky's engine builder was taking his time assembling their engine, and the team was not happy about it.
Yeah, all day this morning to get that short block together. We're busting their ass and jacking the rim.
Team Bodie, was forced to wear dinosaur suits after they lost the E3 spark plug wire challenge. And Team Bigan was the first team to fire up their engine. But time is running out. There's only a few days left for everyone to finish their cars. Anything could happen on Horsepower Wars.
What would you do if I gave you $10,000 and said build the fastest car you can to go down the drag strip? My friends, welcome to the $10,000 drag shootout.
4 teams, 10 days, a $10,000 budget, 1 race with everything on the line, 1 winner.
Got our work cut out, good.
I will take whatever we can get, dude.
Man, they didn't say anything about getting a tetanus shot.
Some of the most phenomenal talent you ever seen in your life.
You got me stacked, Jake.
Them boys are in trouble.
If we're not getting this head for this price right now, we're done.
This is going to be a great competition because the next few days is going to determine who's going to be on top.
She ain't pretty, but you ain't got to be pretty to be fast.
With limited time left to finish their cars, the teams are starting to feel the pressure. Because their budget's in the dirt, Stinky Pinky's working hard to use the parts they have and cut corners anywhere they can. Team Bigan was the first to fire up their car. They still got a lot of work to do before they're ready for the dyno. The Dream Team installed their engine, but they still need to wire up the car and make sure the engine starts. And Team Bodie's plugging away, but they haven't fired their engine, and they need to kick it into high gear if they want to finish their Regal and get it on the dyno before time runs out. We've got 4 teams, only a few days, and a lot of questions to be answered. Stinky Pinky was already behind the other teams and was in a mad scramble to try and get their engine buttoned up. Jimmy was turning up the heat with the engine. The short block is together, and the team is focusing on getting the intake and the supercharger on so they can get the engine in the car and get it fired up.
Building a big block Chevy for this was difficult in the first place compared to the couple of LS engines. So the block that we found for the price that we found to fit in the budget was a Gen 6 block. You know, it's a late model block. Well, I don't even know if I have built a Gen 6 big block Chevy before. There's plugs in places that I wasn't 100% sure about. There's additional, little things that if we were doing a regular big block, would have been a lot cheaper and more readily available.
With any engine build, there's always issues that can pop up. So Dean's trying to figure out how to get their valve covers to clear their rocker arms.
Right now we've got these ultra thins, as you can see, which is pretty much stock. In our budget, we have to use whatever's given to us as of right now. We don't want to pay for aftermarket gaskets, so the gasket can't seal, so we need a gasket that's twice as thick. So we're either going to take 2 gaskets and then use what everybody knows as Gorilla Snot, which is 3M yellow, and put these 2 together and then place it on there now to give us the thickness to get the valve cover above the stud grill. and the polylock, hopefully.
You know, the engine building process is a lot more methodical than everything else. I am definitely a slower, methodical person that is thinking, so on and so forth.
You got an impact? Got an impact? Jake is a savage. He would just grab, rip, tear, shit, gouge. He don't care. He's like, I gotta weld now. Miller welders. They take a licking and keep on stitching. Right?
It was a matter of time before that car said shit.
These are hardened ARP bolts for the flex plate. We may be building these cars out of junker, but if you look around it, like this bolt here, we got 12 points, we got 6 points. I mean, everything we've done, 12-point stainless steel in this car. Is like, it may look like a POS from the outside, but as for nuts and bolts, it's like the highest quality. I don't even have some of this shit on my race cars at the house.
How tight is it tight?
No.
All of them or just one?
Oh, no, they're all good. Just this one. What? It's stripped. Who hit it with the impact, Dad? Yep. That can't be. It's in the dial pin hole or something.
Yep.
Brand new, not new, brand new, fresh out the box. All right, we'll grab that converter and set it up. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the thread.
So Papa Disco, he impacted the flex plate bolts into the crankshaft, and that's bad. He used one of these, which you never do because it can strip it out, and that's exactly what happened. Stripped one bolt, and I have no idea how they're gonna fix it. Hopefully they have something up their sleeve.
Your buddy's in the kitchen. Yeah, buddy. I'm not hitting that one. Put your TIG on that thing, Jake. Yes, sir.
So they stripped the bolt out, right? Now they're welding it into place. This is not Brian Petty approved. I would never do this, but they gotta do something to get the car together and maybe it'll work.
I can't believe they're doing this to my fine craftsmanship. Man. That's your money shot. Money maker. You gotta have some balance, man. Hand out. Did you get yet? I'm the only car by myself. I mean, you know, it's for me. You know there too. Whoa! This is the first time he's ever done this, ladies and gentlemen. We picked him up at the airport.
Still holding the motor. Jake doesn't know, but I'm holding up with one hand still.
Did we drop her down or what? No, don't drop it down. You 2x4. Man.
They finally did it. They got the engine bolted into the Camaro.
That's simple.
Have you ever seen a bigger social goof than that guy?
With the engine in the car, they were ready to install their transmission and torque converter. Stinky Pinky went with a Turbo 400 transmission from TCI straight out of Summit. It's got a manual valve body and a 248 first gear inside a stock case.
We're making a bypass tube for the transmission. So it's got to come out of the transmission, go back into the transmission. Because we have no coolant. We're not going to take a chance of not a coolant. Because we have time to cool.
They coupled it to the engine with a used torque converter that may or may not work for their setup.
Let's just hope she fits, ladies and gentlemen. Get on the other side of the tunnel. I got a boat here. You are a fuck devil.
We already know that Stinky Pinky is using an 871 Littlefield Roots blower for their power adder, but for air and fuel delivery, they picked up an 1150 CFM Holley carburetor from Summit, and they used Fergola fittings to plumb their cooling and fuel system. They're running out of budget fast, but they still need an exhaust system of some kind, so they're building something you'd see in Mad Max. A set of hand-built zoomies coming right out of the hood. All of the 10K teams are using E3 ignition to help control the spark inside their engine. Stinky Pinky is utilizing E3's high output coil, billet distributor, and ignition box. All of these parts give them complete control over the car's ignition needs. And anyone looking to make a lot of power needs to be able to control their ignition, and E3 does exactly that.
Team Stinky Pinky spent all of their cash and Summit budget. That's $3,000 in cash and $7 grand in Summit bucks. If they have a problem at the track, they got nothing left to fix it with.
Dream Team's ready to get to work. They've talked a big game, but so far, they're behind Team Bigan because their engine hasn't even started.
I tell you what, for 10 days, we built some badass cars here, that's for sure. I mean, Pinky's, everybody's got something different, so we got 2 turbo cars with 2 LS's with different ideas, and we got 2 big blocks with different ideas, a nitrous car, and we got a blower car, so should be interesting.
The Dream Team's got their car plumbed, and it's almost ready to fire up. The transmission, torque converter, and rear end are all installed, and now it's time to see if the engine's gonna start.
We got our engine in first. They started their car first, but they wanted to be the first to start the car, but competition is in Ohio.
The Dream Team is using a factory GM computer to control and tune their engine. They have everything they need to get the car dialed in and ready for the dyno. The Dream Team picked up a used Turbo 400 transmission from FTI to try and save some money. It came with a factory case, manual valve body, and a trans brake. Used parts can be good or they can be bad, and hopefully this transmission stays together. They matched their transmission with a 10-inch TCI Street Fighter torque converter that will help them get the turbo spooled on the line. The Dream Team went with a set of Raystar wheels wrapped with Mickey Thompson 275 Pro Drag radial tires. All the teams get the same Mickey Thompson tires to make sure they go down the track as fast as possible. The 275 Pro Drag radial is a great tire, and with the power these guys are making, it's going to do everything they need it to. The Dream Team is still in pretty good shape with their budget. They have $322 left to spend with Summit Racing, and they also have $161 in cash if they need some last-minute parts.
We're just tightening bolts, tightening screws, and making sure this thing's ready to race.
Dream Team, baby.
The Dream Team spent the full $3,000 of cash and $6,970 of their Summit money. They still got $30 left to spend with Summit, but no cash to work with.
Team Bigan is right where they need to be. They started their car and they're making a few last-minute touches before they hit the dyno. Royal Purple kicked in engine oil, assembly lube, and gear oil for the $10,000 drag shootout. Their XPR 40 weight oil is specifically designed to deal with rough metallic surfaces, high temperatures, and overall provide better lubrication. All 4 teams are running Royal Purple in their cars, and with how much horsepower they're making, they need an oil they can trust, and Royal Purple is a perfect fit.
Turbo cars, you gotta have control of the turbo, period. You can have all the power in the world. If you can't control it, you're not gonna go anywhere. So.
Setting up the fire aid system, we got sponsored with one from Fire Aid, pretty much the baddest fire system on the market. They've worked a lot with Lyle whenever, after Lyle's crashed several years ago, and they'd come up with this package, and they supplied us with one to put in this car. which is pretty awesome.
We built us a race car here, so we got all the amenities: bump box, boost controller, all of that. So need to go check with the Dream Team, see where their bump box and boost controller is at.
Bigan bought a brand new TCI torque converter and built their own TH400 transmission with parts from Summit. And they finished off the car with a set of used weld drag lights to save some money. With most of their parts bought, Bigan has $419 left to spend with Summit Racing and $158 left in cash. They might end up spending the rest of the budget before the end, but for now, they're just focused on getting the car on the dyno.
Jason, who was our extra crew member from over this side of the world, has kind of been an unsung hero through all this because we call him the accountant. At any given point, you can ask him where are we at, and he can tell you within $10 of where we're at.
All of the beer that, being that it's been coined with the name beer money, all of the beer related items on the car, the can, the bottle opener, the keg, and even the cooler. I mean, even though it's what you would consider a water cooler, I mean, it's still, if you wanted to, you plug the hole off, pack it full of ice and beer, you would have a cooler. But I think all of the beer related items on the car are my favorite for sure.
Team Bigan ended up spending all of their cash budget and $6,993 of their Summit budget, leaving them with about $7 left over.
The way this thing's clearance, it should have 80 pounds for boats.
Team Bodie is still working on getting their engine together and fired up, but they're still working on plumbing their nitro system, their radiator, and their transmission. Because Team Bodie was running out of budget, they built a set of fender exit headers with crush bent piping. These things are far from pretty, but there's no reason they won't work. All the teams are trusting Fregola to plumb their entire car with fuel, coolant, and oil. And with the high pressure and hot temperatures these cars are going to see, Fregola wanted to make sure everything was sealed and flowing as smoothly as possible when the cars run down the track. Even though Team Bodie's car is plumbed, they're starting to fall a little bit behind the other teams. Their engine isn't ready, they've been caught sleeping in their garage, and there's a rumor going around that they spend their nights at a strip club.
Moment of silence. Okay.
A couple nights we were up till 3 or 4 in the morning and still got pretty much everything we needed to get done.
Stay up till 4 a.m. we still show up at 8 a.m.
Everyone is wondering if they're going to have their car done in time.
Well, when you stay busy, time flies. And I can tell you with this 10-day, $10,000 build that it is both mentally and physically challenging. We did run into one issue as far as the pistons hitting the spark plugs. So that's one little hurdle that we can definitely get over, and we should be ready in Norwalk.
Team Bodie's budget is just about spent. They have $87 left to spend with Summit and $68 left in cash. If they have any last-minute purchases, they might not have enough money left to cover them.
The worst part about putting a car together is all that last-minute detail. Making everything come together in the end is where it gets costly. I mean, I don't even know where we stand right now.
So far, they've picked up a set of front and rear wheels from Summit and a TH400 from FTI, and a used torque converter that may or may not be right for their setup.
Then we still got some stuff to finish up in the back, mount the seat. I said small details, but it should be one of the nicer cars, but it's an 84 Buick Regal, so you can't go wrong.
Team Bodie spent the full $3,000 they had in cash, but they do have about $80 left over to spend with Summit in case something happens. In total, they spent $6,918 through Summit Racing. Stinky Pinky may have gotten their engine in, but they're a long way from celebrating.
There's no reason
This thing should be going puff, puff, puff. At least try it.
Yes, I agree. Let's kill the clutch right there. South clutch out.
Building a car with over 1,000 horsepower in 10 days and starting with a junk piece of shit is a challenge. This is a true test to your inner self and a true test to you and your friends. It's going to put you through every scrutiny every up and every down. There's times, man, everybody, the team's gelling and everything's great and we're on a roll, and then bam, something happens and it sets you back 3 steps from where you thought you were at.
Yet again, another setback for Stinky Pinky. They've already been burning the wick on both ends, and with the dyno time slot looming, it doesn't look like they're gonna make it.
Sounded good.
Stinky Pinky got their engine to fire, but with the clock running out, timing is everything, and Stinky Pinky's is off.
We've had a timing issue. There's a discrepancy where true zero is on the balancer to where top dead center is. We can't check top dead center now that the head's on it. We just kind of got to guess at it. So we tried to split the difference, rolled over 180, see where the piston stop is, rolled over 180, see the piston stop, divide it in half, that'll give you true zero. Well, that true zero was totally different than zero on the balancer. One was way too much timing, and one was way too retarded is what it's called when it's not advanced. My dad's never wrong. And you know, tonight with the timing, he was upset because we kept trying to chase zero in another spot. He's like, it ain't it, it ain't it, it ain't it, it ain't it. And he was right. It wasn't it. It wasn't it. It was right where he said it was the whole time.
Okay, so after some last-minute help from Team Bigan, Stinky Pinky is getting ready to roll onto the dyno. Team Bigan even helped him push the car on. They're gonna help him with some stuff, and they need to hurry because they only have about 5 minutes left to get a dyno pass in and get everything finished and get the car dialed in.
I've never been on a dyno, so it was my first time trying it. Hey Jimmy, let Yost run the dyno and I'll watch you, and if it gets hot, you do that to me and I'll shut it down, okay?
He said, why don't you let Eric do it? I can do it, I can do it.
You guys ready? I will.
As soon as that downwind starts rolling, first gear, you hit the record button. Very simple, but that didn't happen.
I'm holding a button for him to press record, and I went to go check the straps. Next thing I know, he's doing a pull.
I was checking the straps. Yeah. You hit it before I hit green. Did you actually do?
I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it again. Call it.
Dean has never ran a car on a chassis dyno before. I own a chassis dyno, but I think he was a little rattled. He'd never done it before.
It's just a wasted pull. It's a wasted pull on the motor for nothing. I mean, we all know every single race car has an expiration date. No matter how good you build the motor, no matter what you build, if it's a TFX Alan Johnson or a Brad 8 or whatever, and you make 3,500 and you detune and run at 25, it still has a life expectancy.
Each team got 2 time slots that they could run their car on the dyno, and Stinky Pinky, they missed their first one because the car, it wasn't together. But this one, the car was together, but they didn't record. And that's a huge problem because the car sounded good, but we have no idea how much power it made, if timing needs to be adjusted, if fuel needs to change. We have no idea. They have no idea. It's a big problem. And I don't know what they're gonna do. It's dyno time. First up, I think we have the Dream Team. They're gonna roll into the dyno and see how much power they can make, but there's been a lot of tension between Bigan and Dream Team to see who makes the most power, because they both have Turbo LS Mustangs, but they went different routes. So it should be pretty cool to see who makes the most power, and I'm looking forward to it.
And we have an intercooler, they have nitrous to cool their cylinders off and give their nitrous comes into cooling their cylinders off and making power. We have an intercooler to keep our air temperatures cool. So I mean, if you look at it and you put numbers together, they have a little bit more advantage than us because they have nitrous, they have 2 power adders.
Dream Team just did their first poll, and they put down a pretty solid number. I'm not going to say it, but it's pretty good.
It is what it is. It's just what we love to do. We build them, put them on the dyno, and start doing pulls. We break them in on the dyno. So 663 for the first pull, that's a good number. That's pretty good. We're happy with that.
After a slight adjustment to the tune, it was time for the second pull. On the second run, the Dream Team made 670 horsepower to the rear wheels. That's a stout number. The team said they were going to make it over 700, but there was fluid leaking under the car.
Oh, that's tranny fluid.
What do you?
Yeah, just put a bottle on it, let it lay in the bottle.
You can blow it out?
Yep.
Yeah, we need to put a bottle on it.
Yep.
All right, so the Dream Team just put up a really stout number, and they're still really conservative on the tune and on the boost. 678 horsepower to the rear tire, and that is big. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they're gonna lean on it and turn it up, but they might wait for the track and leave their cards hidden. We have no idea, but let's find out on the next run.
All right, let's put some boost in this bitch.
We came here for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to win.
The Dream Team put down a final number of 725 horsepower to the rear tires, and that's a pretty stout number. You gotta remember, it's a junkyard 5.3 they picked up and put some forged pistons and rods in and valve springs and a cam and called it a day. It's definitely a budget build, but I'm curious to know how the rest of the teams are gonna stack up because there's still a lot of dyno time to go around. But Dream Team, they're packing up their stuff. They're getting ready to leave. They're confident. And I'm surprised they're so confident because they actually had a wastegate issue that was keeping them from making peak power. I don't know if that was a poker game face thing or if it was sandbagging to not let the other teams know what was going on, but they're getting ready to leave, and it might be a lazy Sunday for Dwayne and the Dream Team, but there's still plenty of cars left to go on the dyno.
I've worked with Dwayne for over 15 years, and this is kind of like business as usual for us. So we're used to just throwing everything together, getting it all done, and hitting the button, and boom. Okay, good, it runs. Right to the dyno, couple break-in pulls, right to the chip, done.
I'm about ready to go. Call it a night. Go get something to eat, sit down, chat with the guys, figure out what we're gonna do. Get paired for Ohio, come in tomorrow, finish up some odds and ends. We're very happy with the car. Accomplished, our goal was accomplished. We built the car every day as we were gonna race it. We wired it the way it should have been wired. We did the rear, the engine, everything. As you saw, we started the car up, warmed it up, took it to the dyno and started doing pulls. And our first pull, we pulled it to 6,600. So we're prepared, we're ready, we accomplished our goal. Peace out. Dream Team, baby.
Team Bigan still has a few things to tidy up, but they're in pretty good shape and right on time for their dyno pull.
High horsepower and lots of tears from the other teams in this shop. Probably should have bought them life jackets. I'd hate for somebody that can't swim to drown.
The turbo wasn't spinning. Okay, so they just ran it on the dyno for the first time. They didn't do a full pull, but we're wondering what's going on with the turbo. Somebody said that the turbo had stopped spinning, and so I think now they're checking to make sure it's not touching down on the exhaust or the compressor side.
Well, they said when I was running through the gears there, trying to get the straps tight and the fluids right, that the turbo wasn't spinning. I mean, some of them don't at idle much, but for it not to be spinning at all is odd.
Bigan decided to make another hit, even though the turbo wasn't spinning much at idle. Hopefully Beer Money survives its first dyno run.
feels good, sounds good. HED horsepower. That's all you need.
Starter sounds like hell, but runs just fine.
Peter Harrell's tuning the car with Holly HP sitting under the dash. It's going to make a lot of power. Let's see what the final number is.
Would you look at that? Just look at it.
It looks like the turbo's fine. It made a good solid run, and the car is making really big power. It made almost 800 horsepower to the rear tire on boost alone, and now they're getting ready to hit it with nitrous, which is going to be very interesting because they've already bested the Dream Team's number at 770, and they haven't even sprayed it yet.
With a final number of 880 horsepower from beer money, it's clear that Team Bigan came to win. Now it's time to see what the other teams can do to try and top that number.
Yeah, we got a hot rod, son. Them boys are in trouble.
Since Team Bodie didn't have their car ready, they gave one of their dyno time slots to Stinky Pinky. The first time they tried, Jimmy forgot to hit the record button, and Dean pulled the plug and blew a gasket.
My main hopes is just everything stays internal in the engine, so we'll see.
While Dean covered the dyno screen to hide their numbers, the Camaro sprung a water leak. There was no time to fix it, so they decided to just get after it.
Dean was pretty happy with Dr. Rodknocker's numbers, and the rest of the teams were wondering what the hell was going on with Stinky Pinky's Camaro.
When you stop the pull, it's still going up like that.
We're still aiming for the moon.
Look at Lyle's face. I want you to just keep it right there.
Look at Lyle. He's a little nervous now.
Nervous? Nervous?
Small tire, not annihilate the small tire.
No, we got that. I got 2 feet, player. I got a brake and a gas.
And this is still a drag race. It isn't who goes the quickest and fastest. I mean, that's only qualifying. To make it to the end, you got to win rounds. And as much as we like to give Dean a hard time, he knows how to go rounds. He knows how to win. He knows how to bracket race. He knows how to foot brake race. And honestly, if this thing goes point A to point B, that could give him an advantage. So they're not out of this thing, even if they made 200 horsepower less than us. It isn't, you never know. So, and they're all damn sneaky and they hid how much power they made anyway, so what do we know?
Worked out. Dr. Rodknocker is going to be ready, son. Knock, knock. Who's there?
It does sound better than anybody else's shit here. It does. You're right. My favorite thing is when your old man said, well, this car's really cool. When it's done, whoever gets it, the motor ain't gonna be worth a son of a bitch. Good job, brother.
Camaraderie! That is what racing is about. Friendship, family, racing.
Shut
up. I didn't even hug you, did I? I know. I can't get my arms around the bitch, bitch, man.
You fat motherfucker.
2 guts, don't get it, man. You got 2 guts, can't get it. I'm sucking in, too. I'm sucking in.
I don't even have the energy to suck in.
All right, so it is 8 o'clock on the last day at night. That means they've only got 4 hours left to work on the car, and as you can see, the transmission isn't even in the car.
We're very experienced with this type of stuff, man. Like I said, we call ourselves Team No Sleep. We've been in many jams and had to work all night, getting ready for a race, I mean, many times. So I was totally confident that these guys would be all right. We've been here many times before.
The Dream Team is completely finished. They're gone, they left. But Bigan and Stinky Pinky, they're celebrating because they're finished and their cars ran on the dyno. But Bodie still has a lot of work left. So I'm gonna let them work, but I'm gonna go check in on Bigan because I heard something about a burnout happening.
The teams were told not to do burnouts. But it's not a big surprise that Lyle and Eric decided to break the rules. We gave them a pass because they didn't crash. And there was a beer can glued to the hatch.
Right there. Get it, baby! Woo!
Dean B boasting on Carnival cruise ships. Glamour and glitz, big tips to the waiter. Nobody greater. See me now, I see you later.
All the teams have gone home, but Team Bodie hasn't even started their car. They've been trying to get it started for a while now. Team Bodie is literally down to the last hour. Bodie's Regal started up and it seems to be running pretty smooth. But first and second gear aren't there. The car would only move in reverse. The guys are trying to fix it, but can't figure it out. Which is a problem they're gonna have to fix in Norwalk.
Can we put tranny food in there real quick?
There is literally only minutes left before they have to stop working on their car.
We'll see you guys in Norwalk.
The builds are completely finished. The teams have gone home, but now the cars have to get to Shakedown to the summit. The transport is here. We're gonna load them up right now, but you're not gonna see us for 2 weeks because that's when Shakedown's happening. We'll see you guys there.